All right, let's get started. So I'm gonna review, I'm gonna go over the question in the review. That way you have something to study for Sunday. I think it's due Sunday. Might give you a little extra time, but I'll probably push it a few days after Sunday because I know you just got back. But we're gonna keep going. So keep that in mind. Thursday, we're gonna just keep moving forward and do more sections, okay? All right, so first question. Write the following. Inequality in interval notation. And we'll go ahead and graph it too. The question doesn't ask for it, but it'll help you out, so you might as well do it. Okay, so here's the inequality. So all you gotta do is put a number line. -3 is over here. There's a bunch of stuff in the middle. 5 is over here. Since it has an equal to on this side, put a solid dot on 5 or a bracket. -3 does not have the equal to part, so you'd put a parentheses. So everything in here is a solution that satisfies this. Okay, this inequality. But once you put that on there, you should see what the interval notation will be, right? The answer will be -3 to 5 bracket. So just mirroring the line. Okay, that makes sense. Nothing crazy. First 3 questions will be more about definitions and what's the word? Concepts. Number 4 is the first thing you actually work on. Now I'm going to skip the first 3. And I'm also going to skip the true or false questions. I'm going to leave those to you. Any question number 4? Okay. Number 6, solve the inequality. Yep.
If we kind of upload the handwork or the exam solution,
Did you email it right away?
I get a chance to email that.
I guess you get a 0. Just do the test corrections. Do it detailed, and I'll give you points there. Yeah. Mhm. That's one. Oh, did you do it later?
I did it when you told me to turn it in,
Okay, I'll check it.
but it was locked, so he asked me again to open it, and you didn't open it, I turned it in.
Okay, yeah, I haven't gone back to test one yet. I'll do that soon. Don't worry. Solve the inequality, then graph. Then give the interval notation. I'm just shortening the question. This is the question here. Yeah, since I gave extensions, I was waiting until they all closed before I went back to the grading. I'll do them very soon. I got test 2 to grade and some of the earlier stuff too. So 2 times x plus 7 plus 4 greater than or equal to 6 plus 3x. So I recommend getting the x to the left-hand side. Because once it's on the left, you know exactly which way to graph your line. So let's start. Solve the inequality, then graph it, and give the interval notation. So distribute the 2x, combine like terms, isolate x. So first step, you get 2x plus 14. So right here, all we did was multiply. Okay, now combine like terms. Glare right on that 3x. Okay, I'm gonna subtract the 3x to the left and subtract the 18 on the right. Let's do minus 3x minus 3x. Notice how it's the same steps for equations, it's just not an equation. Okay. Subtract 18. Subtract 18. 6 minus 18, what is that? Close. Right, you guys agree? All right. So what's the final step?
You have to do the opposite sign. Right?
Yeah, we gotta do,
Since negative 12 is like greater still.
yeah, we have to deal with this, the negative x, right here, this negative. But we would have to do it to the 12 too. It's true. So we can either multiply or divide by -1. Doesn't matter which, but when you do that, what happens to the symbol?
It flips the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's gonna flip, right? If you don't flip it, it's gonna be wrong. Once you get to here, this pretty much tells you which way the line goes. It's telling you to graph towards the left. X is less than 12. So draw a line. Here's 12, solid bracket. And it keeps going this way forever. Okay. So what is that as an interval? Right, everything below 12. How would you write that in interval notation?
Would that be
Positive infinity or negative infinity?
negative?
And do I put a bracket or parentheses on 12? Do we ever put brackets on infinity?
No.
So this is what they wanted. This is the math that they want to, I want to see. Solve for x. Once you've done so, give me a basic graph, nothing fancy. Then just tell me what the interval is. Then you're in this type of notation. Okay. I have a question exactly like this, just different numbers, slightly different arrangements of variables. But same question. Any steps that don't make sense, or you got distracted and spaced out, just let me know. Happens to me all the time. I spaced out while I was talking, so yeah. you see the steps that happen here and here?
Question.
Mhm.
Could you have combined the 6 to the others, I mean, the 4 to the other side? Since technically, yeah, you have 14 plus 4, and then you have 6. Couldn't you have put those 3 together all at one time?
You could have subtracted 4 and then 14. You could have done that. That is not wrong. That
But
is,
either
On
way,
the second step, we can come up, because the little alligator thing is basically the equivalent on the side. They're two separate.
be separate.
oh, you mean combine them like right straight across?
Yeah,
Oh, I see what you meant. I see. No, yeah, Ashton's right. You can subtract the 4 over, subtract the 14 over, do it that way, but not straight up.
okay.
So the greater than or less than one correction until the very end of the last.
Yeah, it will only change whenever you divide or multiply by negative. The only other time is if you take reciprocals of both sides. But you will rarely ever do that, but that there is a third instance. You have questions?
Subtracting 2x from the 3x and subtracting 6. So you would have to go for negative, rather than vice versa.
You could, but then you'd have the X over here and you'd have to rearrange it. You don't have to, but it's easier if it's on this side because it tells you which way to graph. Because if I would have done it the other way, and it's not wrong, I don't care if you do it that way. But if you did, you would have it like this, right? The very end.
Yeah.
So yeah, just remember in your head, that means less than X12, right?
Yeah.
If that, as long as you graph it right, it doesn't matter. It's just personal preference that I like this. You don't have to do it that way.
Well, even this way, it's taught since middle school to do it that way because you want. I've always been told, put all your X's on the left side.
Yeah, it's like a convention. It's just not required. Like we were talking about before, like nobody says X2. It's 2X. That's just by convention, but it's not wrong. It's still legit. We didn't break any math stuff. Math rules. Okay, any other questions on 6? Right. I'm gonna turn the page then.
That's why you just leave it for its negative infinity, because it's sort of on the actual variable for x itself, right?
Well, this is telling you that X is everything below or equal to 12. Those would be your solutions.
Oh, okay.
So X is many things.
Question. Since we have to draw the number line and we show that the bracket is like open.
Mhm.
From 12 to the negative infinity. Whatever, when we actually do the notation, we accidentally put like a parenthesis. Are you gonna take off major points on that? Or let it slide?
I mean, you would lose points there because there is a difference. Now, I don't know how much I take off. Like I wouldn't like.
Caught the whole thing wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't hurt you that bad, but you would lose points because it's a concept that you're missing.
Okay.
If the solution set was backwards for you, negative 12. For x is greater than negative 12, it would just be the negative just backwards.
Yeah, it'd be going from here to there. It's the other direction. The arrow would be going the other way.
It's negative 12, open parentheses and then bracket on it. Then you
If it was X greater than 12, you'd have, 12 bracket infinity. Mhm. Like if you had, you're talking about this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be just, you just flip this around other way. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So I will extend test 3, as I said earlier, but I'm gonna keep moving on through the sections, okay? So it's up to you when to take it. Currently it's due Sunday. I think it's a little early.
I did have a question. If you have it before that, you can still give. Paranoid saying long as it's as long as the work that we do itself, like, giving someone the right stuff, right?
Yeah, all your grade will be based on your work. So if there's some good steps or you made a small step, it's not a big deal. But yeah, I don't care about, the only ones that don't need work is the true or false. Okay, anything else that needs, you need to prove to me you know what you're doing.
Like, a little explanation.
Yeah, that's good enough. Mhm. But yeah, if you get it wrong, but you showed some decent work or a few steps, I'll give you something.
I just have a secondary question, like, I did take the test, like, I didn't go through the response stuff and.
Mhm.
Would there still be, I don't know, because I don't know what I have to do that, because so. Is usually when I just link the big test, it forwards me to the response, the other one, but it can start with that on campus.
Mm. No, it's okay. That's on me if that happened. No worries. Okay. This question you're solving for X, it's an actual equation.
Yeah.
So the hint is to multiply everything by your LCD.
5.
Close. This one has a 10 on it.
Oh, okay, well, then.
Yeah, it's gonna be 10. So everything by 10, that'll cancel your fractions. So the instructions just solve.
But would 5 be wrong though? In a sense, because you could do it for the other two, but you would have to do an extra step for 10, right?
If you did 5, they would all reduce except the 10. You'd have to do one more step and then throw in a 2, which would be 10 anyway. So you could do 5 to cancel these two. But then you have to do one more step to cancel whatever's left here.
Okay, but as long as we do it by more or less the same number, we're able to cancel everything.
Yeah, if eventually you hit the LCD, then you're good.
Okay.
So every single one by 10. That will allow you to not have to deal with LCD. Okay. So I'll make a note here. Multiply every term by the LCD to cancel all fractions. You don't have to do that. You could add the fractions and deal with it, but that would be much harder. And I don't recommend it. But if your work is legit and you solve it anyway, then it's fine. Right?
But this would be a shorter route because you're taking all those fractions out of the equation. You're not having to do like 3 or 4 steps just to incorporate them with your other
Yeah.
term.
Yeah, this is the easiest way. Mhm. Any other way would be more difficult and annoying. All right, so these cancel. So do you agree that these 10s are gone?
Yes.
That'll be 3x. 10 times 4.
40.
These will reduce. You can reduce now or you can multiply and then reduce. This will become a 2. 2 times 6.
12.
Again, reduce. 2 times 3.
6.
Is that okay, or would you like to see more steps? That makes sense?
And then I think it's a two.
Right here? Okay, let's show more work.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll show it, but yeah, that's what happened. Okay, so I'm showing the cancellation step, just in case. 10/10 is gone. There's nothing here to do, so just put the 40x. 10 divided by 5 is 2, so we have 2 times 6 left. 10 divided by 5 is 2. We have 2 times 3 left. So that's why we had what we had earlier. If you're comfortable canceling and showing less work, that's fine. If you're not comfortable, then show more work so you don't confuse yourself. But also so I can give you partial credit if you, step it up. Okay, any questions so far? That all right? The weird,
I think they put it two because this is numbers are not the right to
this too?
both.
Both of these, yeah, it's because 10 is being divided by 5. So they cancel out, leaving you with a 2. So this 2 is right here. You could multiply 10 times 6 and then divide by 5, which is the same. But I want you to see the cancellation because that was the whole point of multiplying by LCDs, to cancel fractions. If you multiply it first, you might get giant numbers and then it could be harder to reduce. So I just recommend cancel as soon as you can. Okay. 3x minus 40. What is that, Crystal? What's 3 minus 40? Positive or negative though? Negative. Awesome.
Yeah, I did it backwards.
Get the positive.
Yeah, I did it like the opposite way, like my brain. Yeah. Oh, I see my mistake.
Okay, what do we do next? What do you think, Kimberly? What should we do? We combine here, and now after that,
Maybe divide 6 by 12.
What is-
Oh, yeah, with the sign.
yeah, this 12's in the way, right? We gotta get rid of it.
Yeah.
So if we move it, then we could do division. So isolate this guy is the goal. Okay, so minus 12, right? Okay. Will be the last step, Regal. What do you think?
Divided by negative 37. Which is leave x by itself, then since it's the negative and negative, that's already.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. Does that reduce though? Does negative 6 over negative 37 reduce?
There's nothing you can go into 37 and 36. I think they reduce. Unless you do long division.
Yeah, there's no common factors, right?
No.
So that's it. Not very pretty.
And it is positive, though, right?
Yeah, these negatives will cancel. That's true. Any questions on any of these steps? Is this okay? Gonna have one just like it on your exam, so. Is it weird?
What is that exactly?
Yeah, whenever you have a negative divided by negative, it will become positive every single time. Or negative times negative.
What is this?
When?
What is this example?
I'm gonna give you an extra week, but should be done by Sunday. You'll get
I'll do it by.
I'll give you extra time if you need it. Yes, here you go.
If you need to go to the power one time.
Yeah, let's go this from the top real quick. All right, so you're gonna be given something like this on your exam. And you need to find the LCD. That's your first step. You should be able to see that it's gonna be 10 for every single term. All right, multiply everything by 10. That'll be this step here, which will then cancel all fractions. So now it's a simple equation that we had at the beginning of the semester. Okay,
For the first portion, state the denominator divided out is in the 7.
yeah, find the LCD of every single one. So just either write into the side somewhere and try to figure it out. And find the number that they all divide into, or break them down into factors, so you can see exactly what the LCD is.
So for a question like this, they will all actually have it right here, unless they be undefined. So you.
Yeah, there will always be LCD, yeah. For dealing with fraction, there will be one. But once you cancel, you get to here. 3 minus 40 is a negative 37. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6. Isolate this guy here. Minus 12 minus 12 gives you a negative 6. Divide by negative 37, cancel the negatives and this coefficient, leaving a single x and this ugly fraction. That's it. Okay. Any other questions on 7? Yeah, I'll turn the page in a second. Right. Okay. No, I'll be okay. Thank you.
I say 12.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, we have fractions again, similar to the last one. Just looks a little different.
Probably a lot easier,
Yeah, I think it might be.
because the other one had 4 terms.
So you could cancel the fractions the way it is now, or you could expand it and then cancel. Doesn't matter.
No, we want to go short.
I think it's easier to cancel now. But it'll be look different than the last question if we do it that way. Doesn't matter. But it does look different. But if you were to expand everything, it would be exactly the same. Just different numbers. Okay. It's just that the 1/6 is on the entire thing, and the 12th is actually on this entire thing too. You could technically rewrite this as 1/6 times this garbage. And 1/12 times this garbage here. See how that's the same? This is also the same. All three of these are the same. I'm gonna put a double arrow here because it's too many equals.
So the top row on the bottom one is a representation that's in the parentheses, is that correct?
This one, or this part?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a distribution.
Okay.
That is waking up. I haven't had a drink in almost a month.
Oh, so.
Coming back for a bit.
Good.
I have no person go to this.
Yeah.
I just.
Oh, nice. That's fun.
I don't get it.
Okay. Do you see? This is all the same representation. Just written in a different way. I want you to see it because I don't want you to get confused. So the last one is similar to how this one was written, right? Similar style. This one was written differently. It was as if it was factored. I made it more obvious here. That's all. Anyway, any questions on that before we start the problem? We haven't started yet. I'm just showing you something. Which one would you want to work on? Top one? Okay. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. Yeah, we can do both. I think great idea. Yeah, that's right. That's what I wrote.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the LCD we said? Yeah, 12.
Yeah, 12 is LCD.
So multiply every term by 12. So 12 times the first one. 12 times the next one. I'm doing this one. Can we do the top one first?
I know I don't problem.
Okay. Let's call this one star and double star. We'll do star first. Just for the OCD people. Whoever you are.
Format, so we still have like the regular type for doing the top, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you think of it. This basically is like thinking of the same question in different ways. No matter what, yeah. You're doing the same problem.
Like, on these and then, for some- That's a good question. And just solve them out, so like make it easier. If there's like a specific method that I'm trying to do there.
Yeah, like if you change it up a little bit because it makes more sense to you, that's fine. I mean, like I said, as long as legit math, it's fine. You make stuff up that's not true, then we got problems.
Can we do the wizard math?
No black magic.
You have to go stupid for 1/6 first.
Oh, you just moved.
Yeah. so
And
that-
I'm-
this might be
We could do both.
might be wrong.
The easiest way was to leave it there. Because when you multiply by LCD, you can leave it, let it happen on the outside and not worry about it.
You're gonna put 12 in front of every term. And multiply. It's gonna be 12 in front of.
What do you think? What happens on the left?
Left side,
Mhm.
well, that 12 becomes a 2 because 6 goes into 12
Right?
2 times.
So this is kind of like saying 12/6, which is gonna be the 2, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and put the 2 like you said.
So 2 5, 6.
Well, it would be gone, the 6,
Oh,
right?
yeah, sorry. Okay. You would multiply.
What about over here, Kimberly? What do you think? What about those 12s? Those are the same, right? Same stuff. Is that okay with everyone? What should we do next?
So it would be 6 after, would that be for another key?
6x?
Or that's only multiply
This part?
first, 6 plus x, or x plus 6.
Yeah, these, since they canceled outside, there's nothing else multiplying in front. It'd be a 1 in front.
Oh, so then x and 6 will go together. Left.
Yeah, they just kind of, they're just still there. There's just nothing applied to them. This still has a 2, since it didn't cancel all the way, we'll still have to distribute.
So
So from here to here, fractions cancel. What do we do next?
And 12 to both sides. Or you can even subtract x from both sides.
Yeah, we can move the X, or either way, it doesn't matter, right? That gets us to here. Subtract the X.
no. No.
You got 10x and you put it something that's like.
Oh, yeah, I see that's.
And last step, we divide by 9.
Isolation, but not the second.
2 becomes your answer. It's 2, 9 times 2 is 18.
Any steps that don't make sense?
Somebody in the bottom one next.
Yeah, we'll do it in the back. So let's go from the top, right? I'm working on this one, the original they gave me. We found the LCD to be 12. So that's how we start. Multiply everything by 12, and since everything's kind of in parentheses, we can just cancel because they're products. We don't have to worry about distributing or anything until here. So this 12 cancels that 12, that 12 cancels the 6, we're left with the 2. 2 times 5, 2 times 6 gives us these two terms. At that point, we have a basic equation back from the first 2 weeks of class, right? So canceling the fraction gets us back to the simpler type that we've worked on. Add 12, subtract x, divide by 9. Any step that's confusing or strange? Okay, all right. So we'll do double star. Oh, wait a second. All right. Okay. So every term by 12 again. It's just that this time they're separated. Okay. It'll be the same thing. Six over 6 is a 1, right?
Yes.
So let's not worry about it. Okay. So 12 divided by 6. That's going to be 2 times 5, correct?
Yes.
12 times 1. These are gone, right? And these? So it looks like we're in the same place as before. Right? Any steps so far that don't make sense? So at this point, we've got rid of the fractions, just isolate X, that's it. So plus 12 again. Minus the X. Divide by 9. Any questions on these steps? That's all right. Then move on to some other question. Yeah.
The two methods, right, but there's a great one as well.
Kind of. The middle one is just slightly different from the first. I just put the 12 in the front instead of underneath. Yeah. It's all good. All right, let's do number 9. That's cool in 8. Find the domain of the irrational expression.
And will this, you guys have 15 questions in a or no?
Try this similar amount as this one.
Okay.
This review. I don't know how many we got here. I think it's 20. So I'd say no more than 20.
How do we do with test correction?
We'll work out every single question in detail, explain yourself, make sure it's right, and then upload it within the time limit. Then I'll grade it again. But make sure it's good. Don't upload garbage. Right? If there's corrections, I expect quality stuff.
Well, my test, regular test ones were like A1, but it wasn't uploading for some reason. I don't know if it was like the PDF like scanner thing I'm using.
What kind of phone do you got?
An iPhone,
Use Notes.
you know, so,
That one has a built-in scanner.
okay.
You can also scan any words or bar numbers, and it'll send straight to the pad.
Okay, but it won't be able to open back up because it's already closed. Right?
Yeah, just do test correction at this point.
Good.
So then you have, if you have them, you still have the work, just do those again, just make sure they're better than before.
All right.
You'll be good.
Okay.
Less work because you have them, right?
Yep.
But I'm sorry that happened.
No, it's okay. I think it might have been my fault. I messed it up, like, kind of like save it and like goes, yeah.
Yeah, use the notes, they're really nice. You know what I'm talking about or no?
Yeah, no, I know exactly.
Okay.
No.
No, I'll show you. Okay,
But not how not mentioned.
question 9. So rational expression is just a function or it's basically a fraction that has variables in it. That's it. So there's a variable on the bottom. You have a rational expression. The domain, the way you find the domain of these types is to either graph it and then just look at it, or factor the bottom and figure out what problems would, or what numbers would cause problems. Okay. So factor, how does this factor?
Well, X and X, and then. it would,
Yeah, for
uh,
sure. Excellent.
You would have to use the AC method.
Yeah, you could.
Which 2 times 5.
2 and 5.
Oh, right now, use that.
2 and 5. Nice. So once it's factored, it's a lot easier to solve it. If you can do it by looking at it, cool. If not, the work you're supposed to do.
Yes. 5.
Good job, look at you, girl. The deeper.
So to find the domain, set the denominator to 0. To solve quadratics, you always factor or use quadratic formula. Those are your only 2 options. Since we're already a factor, we don't have to really do anything. Right? There it is. Once you have 2 factors or any products equal to 0, you can set each product to 0. Solve them. And you have the 2 numbers that are not allowed in for x on this expression. Okay. So any other number is cool, except these 2. So what is the domain knowing that fact? See what I mean?
Knowing the fact that you can't have 2 or 5.
Yeah, you can have -2 or -5.
I would say 0 and 2.
But any other number is cool.
Yeah, 0 and 2. I'm not talking about -2. I'm talking about regular 2.
I mean, those are technically allowed. But what is the entire domain? What is everything that is allowed? We'll draw a number line. Maybe that'll help. Here's -5. Here's -2. So there's 2 problem areas. Everything else is fine. So how do you write everything after -2?
Oh, this is.
Infinity.
How do you do it?
With the little open bracket thingy.
The union into, is that where this comes in?
Yeah, we're gonna have unions because we got to work around those holes.
So anything has to
Be negative. Infinity.
Yeah, that's
Power
what I'm saying.
5.
For before this. But we don't put any parentheses on the -5 because it's not included. -2 to infinity for everything after. So we got 2 sections taken care of. Now the intersection, or the inner part.
That's the union.
Yeah, Yeah, so we have three sections for your answer. So the domain will be these three pieces union together. That makes sense? So if you graph it, it's a little more obvious. Okay. If you graph it, you'll see that on the calculator, everything is covered except those two numbers be skipped. But you still got to know, how do I write that in interval notation? So this would be the set builder notation. This would be the interval.
I needed to. I don't know what's going to happen because I'm moving friends, but that's on Thursday.
So if you give me for question 9, if you say just in plain English, x can't be -2 or -5, I'll take it. But if you give me the interval, I'll give you some bonus points. Okay. If you give me the interval notation, I'll give you bonus points. If you just tell me x can't be -2 or -5, then that would be sufficient. Okay. You can also give me that, I guess. Only for its interval.
How many bonus points are we talking?
All right. Any other questions on 9?
Anything will get a question like this for you if you wanted to.
I want the interval, but technically you could say this as a solution. Because what the question asked, right? Find domain of the rational expression. This is true, and this is true. I'll give bonus for this one. I'll just give you straight up 100% credit for these two. Okay. All right.
We did it all, right?
See how I feel at that moment.
Yes.
Great.
All right.
Don't raise.
It's a good point.
Let's make sure your chocolate.
Exactly.
Clear of negative energy.
Great. Oh, great, those are very good.
I think you've answered this before, but do you have another class?
There were,
Of this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're fully online.
Well, they cheat on their tests all the time.
Only
They
don't.
do something online, and that's like.
Do I or do this class? Sure. There are fully online classes in the summer, yes. They exist,
What?
but I just don't know. You never know what it's gonna be. Summer is always random.
That's like every week, right? Or summer, so there's only 8 weeks.
Yeah,
Online is a little harder.
Oh, yeah, I can't do it.
Um,
Yeah.
they don't get as many
Summer classes are
chances.
online.
Yeah,
No, I was thinking someone people they don't do online classes at all during this. Because of the short.
No, that's what I'm saying, it's all for the play.
Yeah,
Or just that or.
No, then it's a lot of else. The same thing, yeah.
Big one. That means one and students. Big one. You say.
No, they know they said they. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but someone told me they don't do online.
And I wanna take online for summer because I have 2 trips. Like towards like the end of the semester for summer. And so I don't wanna be there during finals and be gone and it's a big
Yeah,
surprise.
I'm ready. Go to the back of the room.
Hey.
You
okay,
could start tucking it. You could like.
we'll take a break in a sec. It has been a minute. Okay. Number 10, reduce this, basically, they're just asking you to reduce, that's it. And the way we reduce all fractions is to factor the top and bottom. And see what cancels, because once you have products, you are allowed to cancel.
Back to the top and bottom and then what?
Once you have factors and products, that's when you cancel stuff, right? That's the only time you can cancel. You better have products. By now, I would need to factor the top to have products. The bottom already is a product, right? 2 times x squared. The top is not really a complete product. So what's in common up top? What's the GCF?
Yeah, the.
They both have an X. So I can pull out how many X's?
They're all divisible by 2. Right?
They are divisible by 2.
All right.
Is that the biggest number?
No, but you could probably do like. They say.
Because nothing bigger than 2 can go into.
For the top?
Oh, for the top. 8 is the biggest. What's
8.
the X?
Yeah, so
8
we,
times 5 is 40.
yeah, so we can pull out an 8 from both.
That's where I got the 5.
Yeah.
Oh, you said 8x, right? So factor 8x from the top. You will be left with x plus 5. Notice that now we have products. You can cancel stuff here. You can't cancel before. So what cancels here? Yeah, this X and one of those, right? And this 8 and 2.
4 times.
So we're left with 4. So everyone see why it reduces to this.
That's our answer.
Pretty much. Let's see. Yeah, that's how they wrote it.
Party at the end.
Yeah, all they wanted you to do was to reduce it.
One question. So you couldn't take out the bottom X and the top X within the parentheses?
Nah,
No?
only if it was one of the products.
Okay, cool.
Like if there was an X out here.
Then you could do it.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, that's just a question.
So you can only cancel things that are factored from the entire thing. So
Yeah, so you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like have you ever wanted to, animal cruise? Like, right.
That's what they asked me.
Like, if you read them, no.
what job was this, man?
Kind of become a CO inside the
Did you
juvenile
know?
central center.
Oh, that makes sense. Why they asked that. Don't wanna know if you're a psychopath.
Yeah,
Are you Jeffrey Dahmer?
yeah.
Just wanted to sit down and watch this movie real quick.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, they were
Let me see. In, yes. In lowest terms. All right, let's take a break because it's been a while.
It
So
was
it's-
good, but it was weird.
Let's come back about 4:45.
And it went into it really.
I liked it. I feel like Reese's parents, because we should have gone to help them to know that we know like
They were super friends.
Yeah, literally. Like,
Thanks.
You're welcome,
I
sir.
think they had too much fun. All right, how do we factor the top?
Y to the square.
What's a trinomial?
I'm sorry, Y.
We gotta have to take this approach.
oh yeah, it's gonna be.
See, that's what I was thinking, I said 4 and 10, but
It's gonna be 10 in.
Five, maybe.
maybe 5.
It is.
In 5.
That's wonderful, yeah, computation.
You know what kind of, you know,
No,
yes, yeah.
I just looked at it, I'm playing a game.
Guys, relax. Start the recording, guys. Sure.
If Mr. Gonzalez likes me, that's all he can.
What's the factor to negative 30? To add up to 1.
Negative 10.
Nope.
What did you ask?
Which one's negative though? But once it's factored, you can cancel. What cancels? That's it, nothing else. Nothing else. Just leave it like that. Completely reduced.
Then the Y is canceled.
No, they're not factored.
We're good then.
Don't cancel them. Unless it's factored. All right, any question 11? That's all you gotta do. Let's factor and cancel, which is the same thing we did up here. It was just a different kind of factoring. You factor and then you cancel. See what I mean? It's just that you have many different factoring techniques, but the approach is the same. To reduce a fraction is you factor the top and bottom. Which factoring technique or how to factor depends on the problem. So you need to figure out which one to use.
Question.
What's it?
I wrote it down right.
Okay. All right. I'm moving on from 11. That's okay. Solve the following. 2x over x minus 2 equal to 9 plus 25x squared over x minus 2. So it's the same kind of question as the last equation type that we did. I think it was 9. Let's see. No. Similar to 8 and 7. So we gotta cancel by multiplying by the LCD. What's the LCD here?
2. -2.
Well, you see, the denominator is x minus 2 here. Here, there's nothing, so it's a 1. Over here is x minus 2. So multiply every single thing by that LCD.
X minus 2.
X minus 2. If it wasn't already factored, you would have to factor and then figure it out. Okay. Is that okay? So you see how it's the same approach, right? It's just looks different. When you have these types of denominators, you might have to factor first and then figure out that LCD. Remember, we did examples, I think, right before the break. You had to factor all the denominators and figure out what the LCD was. So if it was not as simple as this, it'd be a little harder to find that LCD. Okay. It might have one like that. Yeah, 14 will be the harder type. So these cancel, leaving you with 2x. This ends up as just a product, right? These cancel. Then we get to here.
So does the 9 distribute into the X?
Yeah, let's do it.
I guess I jumped the gun because I did distribute right after I got that second line out for.
You distributed over here.
Yeah.
That's fine, as long as it's right. Okay, at that point, we got rid of fractions, solve for x. That's a quadratic type. So we have to set it to 0. So we're gonna move this 2x over here. So now I have a 0 equal to 7x minus 18 plus 25x squared. Put all in order from descending order. You have 25x squared plus 7x minus 18 equal to 0. Not a very pretty question. So here you can use quadratic formula or factor, whatever. Doesn't matter.
So we could either do it like this or the quadratic, but.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use quadratic formula or like an AC type. The only thing is factoring this with AC would be kind of annoying because 25 and 18 is pretty big. We had to do 25 times 18 and then do that. Mhm. Either AC or quadratic formula. Those are the only two choices. No, just telling you, those are the two options.
Well, since AC would look funky on this, wouldn't it be better to do quadratic?
I think it would be a little easier.
And the quadratic formula would be right here. Sorry.
Very good.
And
Gonna be negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but I feel like I messed up on this important one. Like, formulas. So for instance, you see it's negative 18 in the parentheses, that I would do negative. Like if he was -7 instead of regular 7, would I still be +7 or would I put -7% parentheses and around?
Yeah, you would put with c is -18, so you'd have -4 times a times -18.
Well, I guess that's the more basic reason. Itself,
Okay.
when an equation has like a solution to that. A variable b that's negative when it's inside the quadratic term, the automatic positive and it still become negative.
Well, it depends on the entire thing. Because the b part would become positive, but then this could still make it negative. Right, so it depends on the result of b squared minus 4ac.
So I can do it either way.
Yeah, you still have to check.
So that first B will be automatically negative B always to this other.
Yeah, it's just built in, it's negative. So whatever this is, we'll just swap the to negative or the opposite. So this becomes -7 plus or minus 7 squared minus 4 times 25 times -18 all over 2 times 25.
I did have another question for like the first part was negative b. So again, same thing, if it was so negative, what I put negative parentheses. The actual negative variable or is it just the variable itself?
If it was negative, it would switch to positive.
For the first portion, it says negative b.
Yeah, so basically think of it as whatever b is, it just becomes the opposite.
I think that's what the concern, but,
That makes sense.
Taking like that where it's still negative or positive. Look, I think on one of the examples, I think it was that where it was negative symbol and then the parentheses. Negative b, whatever it was, and turn it positive because the negative.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you put it in parentheses with the negative in front, it'll just do it for you. It'll swap it.
So either way, it wouldn't really matter that.
Yeah, you could just switch it to opposite here, or you can just think of it as a negative and then changing it later. It's all the same. But it changes because of that. All right, what is 4 times 25 times 18? I don't know what that is.
1800.
1800? Okay. It's this piece, right, is 1800?
Yeah.
Okay, 49 plus 1800 Is that a perfect square root?
Comes out to,
43.
Oh, nice.
yeah,
I like my stuff works out. Oh, I forgot the 50. And you said square root was what again? I'm sorry.
like 40.
Okay. So x is gonna be -7 plus that, -7 minus this, divided by 50. So our two answers. This implies that x is equal to -7 plus 43 over 50. And x is equal to -7 minus 43 over 50. This would be a -50 on top, right? Divided by 50 is a -1. What the heck is this? 43. Is a 30. 36, right? Over 50. Which reduces to, I'm out of space, I'm gonna skip this step. Yeah, that'd be 36 and then reduces to 18/25. So our two answers are these.
Then that's what you do your parentheses with, 18/25 comma, that's one, right? Or -1.
Yeah, I think on this one, it has, you check all the ones that are correct. So you have like 5 options. So you'll check these 2 boxes,
Okay.
or whatever 2 boxes you get. Okay. Just show your work, it doesn't really matter. Any questions on 12? All right. Yes. All right.
Just. That I would make it doesn't give me space and I'll listen.
I would if I could.
No, I guess I'm ready. Bye.
Catch you later. Any other questions on 12? Okay. Yeah, like, it looks like there's a lot of these types on your exam. So it's just, yeah. We've done 2 already, this is the 3rd one, and it looks like there's more. First 2 were kind of easy, this one's a little harder. Etc.
This one will be question 13 in that, right?
The next one will be 13. I'll make a note here.
That's something like that.
All right. Are you guys cool?
For use of a quadratic formula. And we have to have the ABC like result equal to 0. Would there be any kind of like other problems where you can still use the exact same quadratic formula, but be more troublesome, so I can use it, like, it's more time consuming. So I think so I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna get nothing without, it's
like this one right here. Question 9. Quadratic formula here would be silly, but you could do it. Right? You see how this is much easier. So anytime you solve a quadratic equation, you set them to 0, and then you have the option. Use a formula or use a factoring technique. Unless they specifically tell you, you must factor this way, then do so, but that was last chapter. That was test 2, so at this point, just solve it. Whatever you think is easiest to you.
that's gonna be real.
So tomorrow night, yeah.
Would I be able to, if I were to think, or is it just the?
You should just submit the corrections if you haven't already.
Oh.
They can give you points back. All right, question 13. Same type. What is the LCD? Excuse me. This weather makes me so sleepy. So look at the denominators. Are they both prime? Right.
No, just three.
You would do this to find the LCD, but since. And then you would count each time each factor appeared. You had a 3 and an X appear one time each at most. Right? So LCD is at 3X because they are prime. If they weren't prime, then you'd have to count what's the most number of times any factor appeared in one spot, not total. So multiply all terms by LCD equal to 3X. So you can see what cancels here.
X,
Yeah, the X's will be canceled. But over here,
threes.
3's. Is that clear? So you'll have no more X's here. So there's 3 times 2X minus 7. Over here, you'll have X times X minus 4. These are gone. These are gone. Distribute gets you to 6x minus 21. X squared minus 4x. Set it to 0. So move all these over here. Let me show the work. So minus 6x minus 6x plus 21 Okay, that all right? All right, at this point, can you factor straight up or do we need quadratic? What do you think?
You could factor straight up. You could do the AC method, x and x, and then 7 times 3 is 21, 7 plus 3 is 10. But you need 7 to be negative to make it -10.
And the other one,
The other one is positive.
if they're positive, would it add up to -10?
No, sorry, negative. Be another negative.
If they're both negative, they multiply to give me positive, right? So yeah, we're good. So x minus 7 equal to 0. X minus 3 equal to 0. X is 7. X is 3. Any questions on 13? See how the work is similar, right? So you're finding the LCD, canceling fractions, isolating x. Finding the LCD will get harder depending on the denominators. The next one will be a little harder. Any questions on 13?
So we were just solving for this one. We weren't doing like the number line and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, we're just on for x. That's it.
So x is 7 and x is 3.
Mhm. Okay, I'm gonna move on to 14 then. You guys are good? Okay.
Is that 10x or is that less?
-4 minus 6. Did I do? A lot of errands. Did visit some family. Went hiking.
Drinking, no beach, nothing exciting.
Play lots of video games. Read some books. No, I'm on I'm on a break from drinking. So I didn't do anything fun. Yeah. Yeah, this Friday is 1-1 for me. It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's the thing I want to do whenever I see friends. Hey, let's go get a beer. Like the first thing. Let's go eat food and have drinks. But maybe once a month after a break. All right, turn the page. You do anything fun?
I worked. And,
Just like a regular week then? Oh, well. But it was more chill though, right?
it was cold.
Yeah, the first weekend was nice. Second weekend, yeah. First 2 days was really nice. But this past weekend was not. I do not. Do not. I think that'd be fun though. Okay. So it says the same thing, but you have to find LCD first. So factor everything and then count every distinct factor, how many times it appeared in one, at most in one spot. So this is the first one. This factors into the difference of squares, right? These are prime. So now that they're all factored, do you see what the LCD is? Yeah, so look at every single distinct factor, right? You see that it's only going to be, this one has both, right? So at most, x plus 3 appeared one time here, 0 times here, once here. So at most it appeared one time in one spot. X minus 3 has a one spot, one time here and one time there. 0 times here. So write down every factor. And then it appeared one time at most. Okay. So I want you to think about it. No matter what the factor is. If it appeared twice somewhere in one spot, then you'd have a 2 on one of these. That makes sense? So multiply every single term. So once you find this, you do the same thing as before. Just finding this will depend on the problem. Multiply every single term times this. So times the first term. I'm gonna go ahead and factor this. The second term. The last term. Okay. So I factored the original right here to this. So you can see it more clearly that they're gonna cancel. Is that all right? So what cancels on the first term?
Everything. in the first one,
Everything.
Except 12, obviously.
Yeah, except 12. What about here? What cancels there?
-3. I mean, X -3.
So we're left with,
2 or I guess we just
yeah, same thing. On the other side, you see that the X plus 3's cancel.
Yeah.
No more fractions. That's the goal. At this point, solve for X. Just like before. The distributor 2, you're gonna have negative 2x plus 6. Distributor 9, you're gonna have 9x minus 27.
do the parentheses on the second line for 2x plus 6.
Because the minus is on the entire thing. So if I leave the parentheses, it's understood that the negative is gonna go on both. That weird?
No, it's not weird. Questioning because it is. Just figuring out why you did it that way.
All right. That makes sense to everybody? That all right? Okay, then just let me know. Distribute your negative, at this point, just solve for X. That's it. 12 minus 6, combine like terms. I'm gonna subtract the 9x over here. Oops. Oh, 12 minus 6. Combine like terms. Negative 27 minus 6 is 33. Okay. You guys cool up to this point? So just divide and we're done, right? Is that the solution though? Can we use 3? Look at the original question. Would 3 cause problems? Yeah, whenever you're doing rational, you should, I haven't been doing it, but you should plug the numbers in and see if they actually work. Just like on your calculator real quick. Just see, okay. Am I gonna have an issue? Is it truly a solution? On this one, it's not. We solve for x, then we cannot use 3. Do you see why? Look at look at the question, the original question. What's up? No, the very top, the actual question that we started with. Way up here. Do you see what would happen if I plugged in 3? Into here.
Get an error, then can be divided by 0.
Yeah. The solution causes division by 0. That expression, the equation is undefined at 3, but it has no solution. You would just say no solution. Yeah, even though you found one, it's not true. So the answer choice would be no solution. So whenever you solve it, go back and look at the original and see that would they work?
They don't equal each other at the end. When you plug it in.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought this one was so much harder.
how come?
I don't know what time we all worked it out.
Yeah, they don't.
Where I lose you?
It's the first part
Sure.
is comes out to 0/2. It's can be defined by 0, and then the other side is 3/2.
Yeah.
If you work it out that way, when you plug it in. So obviously, this is stating that this side of the equation will equal that side of the equation, which they don't come out to the same.
That's true. Yeah, you have a statement that's not correct. But you see, it's the same thing, right, Crystal? The last 2 questions. It's just the hard part was maybe find the LCD and multiplying with a harder looking LCD.
What did you take?
I think I wish I took something.
No, I'm wrong, but.
You got sleep today.
Smart.
No, it's just long.
Love that.
Okay. Any questions on any of the steps?
It's for a similar problem that also has. The next graph one, so it's stable.
Oh, LCD step? Yeah, every single time, just write down all the denominators and find the LCD like this by factoring. Yeah, so just every single term, write the denominators. If they're all prime, then it's easy. It's just gonna be a product of all 3 or 2 or whatever. If it turns out to be things that factor on the bottom, then it gets harder and harder to do this, but the process is the same. Right, you just gotta count, okay, start with this one, x plus 3. I only see 1 and 1, so I only put 1 here. X minus 3, I see 1 there, 1 there, so at most I saw 1 in any spot. That's it. But if you had like 3 x's here and 4 x's there, then you would pick the one with 4. Okay, if you had like x plus 3 2 times somewhere, then you'd pick 2. If everything else was less than 2. Okay. Any other questions on 14? Okay. Now let's change gears to something else. This is the radical stuff, square roots and whatnot.
I need to put like a different question.
Yeah, a lot of those rational expressions, so. Now something different. This is a radical equation, okay? So the goal here is to isolate the square root part. Once that's isolated, you can square both sides to get rid of the square root. So get this to one side, make sure it's by itself. That way, when you square it, it'll only get rid of, it'll focus on that part. Okay. So add it over and you get to here. Right? You do plus square root on both sides. That okay? Let's skip this step here. That bother you or no?
Just write it out, because
No, you guys, I don't trust you guys. They lie to me too much. Me too.
that's contagious after that.
Sucks. Okay, so you add the root part to both sides to cancel it. Now square both sides to cancel the square root. Once you have a quadratic, we have to set it to 0. That's how we solve all quadratics. So I'm going to move everything to the other side by adding 2x, subtracting 15. All right, you know what? I'll show it in 2 steps. All right. Slow down for a second. So right here, isolate radical. It's the first step that you got to do. Second step, square both sides. All of this is set the quadratic to 0. That's how you solve all quadratics. Since this is a radical equation, when we solve for x, you're gonna have to test those numbers. You can't assume they work. It's gonna be like the last one. One of them might not work, or maybe neither solution works. Depends.
Or maybe the. Answer doesn't exist for that one.
Yeah, it's possible there is no solution. Any of these steps not make sense.
First one, we have X minus. But I mean, the paired solution where it's plus 15, plus square root of 15 minus X.
Yeah, we're adding this term to both sides.
Where does that really come from? Can you just cancel out the negative that's in front of it? That's how you're supposed to.
Yeah, think of it like this. Like if it was square root 2. You would say plus square root 2, right? And these would cancel. That makes sense?
Oh,
Because the minus sign is attached to the radical two.
yeah, I didn't pay attention to 0. That's why I was wondering how you got.
Oh, okay, yeah. We're adding it to both sides.
Okay, I thought it was just. Where we treat itself without the 0.
So once you get here, you square both sides, cancel the radical, you set it to 0. And then every single time you factor to solve. Does this factor nicely?
Because I thought you just pulled out, random 15. Minus 4, I couldn't know what the percent of the equation itself.
You see where it came from?
Yeah.
So factors of negative 15 that add up to 2.
We'll say 3 and 5. You
Yeah,
could do -3. No, sorry. -2 plus 3.
to be
Oh, you know what I meant. There you
yeah,
go.
5 and -3, right?
There you go.
Okay. So we got our 2 factors. What do we do next?
Then you equal them off to 0.
And that's it. We got our 2 numbers, but we don't know if they truly work.
You don't have to plug it in, figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll find out, but it doesn't say, oh, I guess if it's making us check our work, obviously you want to check your work all the time. But as of now, our numbers are -5 and 3.
Yeah, we have to check for radical equations and rational expressions, the rational equations. That's the only time you have to double check. Especially when you square both sides. Anytime you square both sides, you gotta check again. Because the original question was not square. So you introduce solutions that might be fake.
The square root of radicals. I mean, the inverse of radicals is square root. Just like minus and multiplication. And subtraction and addition.
Yeah, similar, yeah. Okay. So plug in -5 into the original. Is it in fact 0?
See, -2 times -5 comes out to +10. Then
15 plus 10,
15 plus 10 is 25.
square root of 25.
Square root of 25 is 5, I believe. Yeah. But that 5 is 5, yeah. So 5, yeah, it comes out to 7.
Is that 0?
Yes.
No. -5 minus 5.
-10, there you go.
Yeah. So this is not a solution.
Doesn't work.
So this is false. Now do the same thing with 3. So in the answer choices, you would not choose this one, right? Or you wouldn't, but you would tell me which one is the answer, okay? So plug in 3. Is this equal to 0?
15 minus. Six. Negative 6. So 15 times 2.
No, be minus 6.
Number 9. Okay.
Square root of 9.
3.
3 minus 3.
0. So
So-
one part of the equation is true.
Yeah, just this guy. Okay.
I won't be an answer for this one, one portion of this is initially.
You would just tell me x equals to 3 is your solution. That's it. Don't give me 2 answers if you only have 1.
Or like if there is a, like for an example, I guess, if it was like multiple choice one for this one. Will they kind of look like it? They're not going to care something.
If you're curious what the answer choices look like, it would. Basically, they would say check all the ones that apply. So they'd have 3, -3, 5, -5, no solution, all the above. Something like that. But what matters is the work anyway. So verify why you only have 1 answer. I think we're running out of time. 16 is very similar, it's just a little harder. So it's this type of question, but harder. 17, 18, 19, 20 is a little more chill. Well, 19, 20 is medium.
Work or from your,
It's from the exam review. These are all the review questions.
are they like the review questions or like the actual book, the workbook or?
I don't know if they're the same. It's the one that's in Canvas that's similar to your exam.
Oh,
So when you do your test review, it's gonna be these questions.
And you said like, but that is in our model, right? That's review.
Yeah, it'll be in Canvas. Right before test 3, just write. So once you show which one is the answer, just write x equal to 3 is your solution. That's it. All right, guys, that's enough math for today.